If your LDL is high and you immediately thought, oh my goodness, I guess I have to give up eggs, butter, joy. If your LDL is high and you think that the answer is just eat less fat, you're already using the wrong model. Because cholesterol is not lowered by punishment, it's lowered by signals your liver responds to. And there are 3 of them. If you understand these signals, you can lower LDL without randomly cutting foods. And this matters because roughly 40% of adults in the United States have elevated cholesterol. This is not a niche issue. This is common. And the right diet can reduce LDL by 10 to 30%, but only if you understand what the liver is responding to. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which lever moves yours. There are usually 4 types of people watching this. Type 1, your LDL is mildly elevated, your triglycerides are low, you feel fine. What's the second type? Well, your LDL is elevated, your triglycerides are high, insulin resistance is likely driving it. Type 3, you eat healthy, but LDL went up when you increased fat. And type 4, you have a strong family history, numbers are very high, diet hasn't normalized it. Now listen, each of these types responds differently. If no one has explained that to you before, that's why advice has felt random. Same LDL number, different physiology, different liver. I'm Dr. Ngozi Okoro. I'm a Mayo Clinic Rochester trained board certified gastroenterologist. And today we are going to lower LDL by understanding liver physiology. Why does LDL matter? LDL is not evil, okay? It's a transport particle. Here's what your body does. It packages cholesterol into what we call ApoB containing particles so that it can travel through water-based blood. That's intelligent design. Your body is smart. Now, the issue is the particle number and retention. When too many LDL particles circulate for too long, they enter into your artery walls. Inflammation interacts with them. Plaque forms. This is what predisposes to heart attacks and strokes. So listen, we're not fighting cholesterol itself. We're managing particle traffic and liver output. Now here's the key. LDL is a liver decision, and the liver responds mainly to 3 signals from your food. In the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly what those signals are and how diet changes each one. Every effective cholesterol-lowering diet in the world pulls at least one of these. The most powerful ones pull all 3 levers. Let's talk about lever 1, bile trapping. Here's what happens. Now pay attention, I'm going to make this really simple. Your liver makes bile from cholesterol every single day. If bile is recycled efficiently, the liver keeps the cholesterol supply steady. But soluble fiber, such as you find in your oats, interrupts recycling. It binds bile acids, they leave the body, the liver must replace them. How does the liver do this? It pulls cholesterol from circulating LDL. That lowers your LDL concentration. This is why psyllium works. This is why oat bran works better than plain oats. This is why legumes are powerful. It's not magic, it's accounting. Your liver makes soap, bile, to digest fats, okay? Bile is the soap that digests fats in your body. Now, after using soap, your body usually says, don't waste it, send it back. But fiber steps in and says, nope, I'm taking it with me. And when that soap leaves with the fiber in your stool, the liver has to grab cholesterol from the blood to make more. This is how your circulating LDL gets lower. The river gets clearer. Let's talk about the second lever. Saturated fat changes how LDL receptors behave. When you have a high saturated fat intake, it reduces LDL receptor activity in the liver. When receptors are less active, LDL stays in the circulation longer. However, when you replace saturated fat with unsaturated fat, think olive oil, think avocado, think nuts, receptor activity improves, clearance improves, particle number decreases. This is signaling biology. This is why the old advice to simply reduce fat and increase carbohydrates misses the mechanism. Reducing all fat is not the goal. Choosing the right fats and replacing saturated fat is what changes LDL receptor behavior. Now, really importantly, if olive oil joins butter at the party, LDL doesn't care. Replacement is the mechanism. Let's talk about the third lever. Now, here's the part people miss. Insulin resistant states increases hepatic VLDL production. Hepatic is just your liver. So when you're insulin resistant, you produce more VLDL, and VLDL eventually becomes LDL. So if someone eats a high refined carbohydrates and sugar, even if fat intake is low, LDL can remain elevated because the liver output is high. This is why insulin resistance matters. LDL is not just a fat story. It's a metabolic story. Your gut bacteria ferment soluble fiber and produce short-chain fatty acids. These travel to the liver. They help signal that cholesterol production can slow down. The factory slows down, fewer boats are made, cleaner river. Why does LDL sometimes rise even when you eat healthy? Let's talk about that because it confuses people. Why would that happen? Number one, during rapid weight loss, cholesterol stored in fat tissue is mobilized. That temporarily increases circulating LDL. Number two, some people increase saturated fat unintentionally when they cut carbohydrates. Clean keto is still high saturated fat. That can suppress LDL receptor activity. Number three, intermittent fasting and OMAD, that's 1 meal a day patterns, can shift hepatic cholesterol export in certain individuals. Timing alone can alter lipid transport dynamics. And number four, in lean, metabolically healthy individuals, a higher fat diet can increase LDL particle number even when triglycerides remain low. Okay? So, 4 different reasons, same labs, different physiology. Let me give you some specific examples here. Let's make this less abstract. One patient, let's call them patient A. LDL elevated at 145, triglycerides elevated at 180, HDL low. This is usually insulin driven. Here's what you do. You lower refined carbohydrates, you increase fiber, you improve insulin sensitivity. LDL improves indirectly. How about patient B? Patient B has an LDL of 150, also elevated, but triglycerides are great at 45. HDL is 70, also great. So different pattern. But this usually is as a result of saturated fat intake or a genetic predisposition. Carbohydrate restriction won't fix this. Fat quality adjustment might. This is completely different physiology, same LDL number, different lever. I really love this part because let's clarify something about eggs. Now, let's correct a foundational misunderstanding because for most people, dietary cholesterol intake does not directly determine blood cholesterol levels. We didn't always know this. For years, we were told when you eat cholesterol, your blood cholesterol rises. But that's not how most bodies work. When dietary cholesterol increases, here's what the liver does. It compensates by producing less. So, 1 egg a day in metabolically healthy individuals rarely drives LDL significantly. Saturated fat and insulin resistance move LDL more. Eggs were blamed because our model was oversimplified. A small percentage of people are dietary cholesterol hyperresponders, but that's the minority, not the rule. Eggs didn't suddenly become healthy. Our understanding became more accurate. Let's elevate this with some talking about ApoB, because I know you guys have heard of it. LDL cholesterol measures your cholesterol content. ApoB measures particle number. Okay? Sometimes LDL looks moderately elevated, but your particle number is normal. Sometimes LDL looks normal, but your particle number is high. If you want deeper precision in your lab work, ask your doctor for your ApoB level. But dietary levers still operate the same way. LDL tells you how much cholesterol is inside the boats. ApoB tells you how many boats there are in the river. Traffic is about number, not the size of the cargo. Okay? Let's apply physiology to food. This is the best part. Number 1, soluble fiber daily, not occasionally. Examples? You know them. Oats, chia seeds, flax seeds, psyllium, beans, lentils, apples, citrus fruits. Because soluble fiber physically binds bile in the intestine and carries it out of the body. So the liver has to pull LDL cholesterol out of the blood to make more. Soluble fiber gets top marks. Number 2, legumes. You want to eat these 4 to 5 times a week. Dr. Okoro, what are legumes? Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, peas. They deliver soluble fiber and plant protein together, a combination that consistently lowers LDL in clinical studies. Number 3, olive oil replacing butter, not coexisting with it, you guys. This is important. Adding olive oil to a butter-heavy diet does not change the signal. Replacement is what changes liver behavior. Please remember this. Number 4, fish twice a week at least. Listen, fatty fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel, they provide omega-3 fats that improve triglycerides and overall metabolic signaling. Number 5, fermented foods regularly. Foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, fermented vegetables, they support gut microbes that help regulate metabolic pathways linked to cholesterol balance. It's true. Number 6, reduced refined carbohydrates. Examples, what are refined carbohydrates? You know them, you know. White bread, pastries, sugar-containing drinks, sweets, highly processed grains. Because chronically high insulin signals the liver to produce more VLDL, which eventually becomes LDL. So lowering refined carbohydrates can reduce cholesterol production at the source, okay? That's not restriction, that's liver messaging. You're not starving cholesterol, just directing traffic. That's all you're doing. Here are the common mistakes people make, okay? They add olive oil, but they keep butter. They increase fiber, but not enough soluble fiber. They reduce fat, but they increase refined carbohydrates. They eat healthy foods, but they still consume ultra-processed snacks. They check labs too early, before 68 weeks of consistency. So LDL responds to a pattern, not one good week, a pattern, okay? So this is my favorite part. Let's talk about a full day of eating. What can you eat to actually lower your cholesterol. Samples. Breakfast. Try some oat bran with flax, berries, and walnuts. You start bowel trapping immediately. For lunch, lentils, vegetables, olive oil. You reduce liver output, you improve clearance. How about dinner? That's where you get your salmon, your whole grains, your vegetables. You improve transport quality and insulin dynamics. Now, how about a snack? Get you some plain yogurt or kefir. You influence bowel metabolism through the microbiome. You see how each meal pulls a lever. Even small pattern shifts can change your LDL. Sometimes timing alone changes the hepatic output. Now, what about timing expectations? Let's say you started doing all this. What do you expect to see? Listen, most people see meaningful LDL shifts within 4 to 8 weeks of consistent dietary change. Checking too early can be misleading. Consistency matters more than intensity. LDL is responsive, okay? But not overnight. Now, I want to tell you one really important thing. When you implement this correctly, dietary change can reduce LDL by 10 to 30%, which in some individuals approaches the effect size of certain cholesterol-lowering medications. If someone implements this consistently, 10 to 25% LDL reduction is common, sometimes even as much as 30%, which means that if your LDL is 100, you can reduce it down to 70. But if your LDL is genetically driven and very high, diet can be supportive but not curative. Medication layered with diet, it's not failure, it's strategy. Now, especially for type 4 physiology, numbers driven primarily by genetics require layered strategy, not guilt. When is diet not enough? When do you say, you know what, maybe I need something else? Number 1, if your LDL is persistently above 190. Number 2, if ApoB remains elevated despite lifestyle changes. Number 3, if there is a strong family history of premature cardiovascular disease. Number 4, if LDL receptor function is genetically impaired. That's not a discipline problem, that's receptor biology. Layered strategy protects long-term risk. Let's talk about, just really quickly, a quick lab interpretation framework. If your triglycerides are high, think insulin resistance first. If you have low triglycerides with high LDL, think saturated fat, genetics, or lean mass hyperresponder pattern. If you have low HDL, think metabolic health, insulin resistance. And finally, if your ApoB is high, think particle number and cardiovascular risk. This is really important. I'm just going to say it again. High triglycerides, insulin resistance. Low triglycerides with high LDL, saturated fat, genetics, lean mass hyperresponder pattern. Low HDL, metabolic health and insulin resistance. And finally, high ApoB, think particle number and cardiovascular risk. Cholesterol is not about eliminating the foods you love. It's about understanding liver decisions. Fiber removes, healthy fats recalibrates, gut bacteria regulates, 3 levers, cleaner river. And when you pull those levers consistently, LDL often falls 10 to 30%, sometimes within weeks. Isn't that exciting? That's not guesswork, that's physiology. So if this helped you, like, subscribe, and comment below. I read every single one. Next, watch Eat to Lower Cholesterol Nigerian edition. This is where I do a deep dive into our cultural foods, what helps and what's the limit. Remember, your gut matters, so do you. I'm Dr. O. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Have you been sticking to your diet?
Yes.